Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Annual Design Awards. I'm Dan Tyler from the Bureau of Project Development, and I'm pleased to be your host. I'll tell you, I feel so lucky. We're lucky that we got to have this conference in person last year. I'm so glad that we piloted our live webcast of these awards. I've heard from many of you that you simply weren't able to visit your job sites this year, and that's tough. So, join me, and we'll visit 25 nominees for this year's Design Awards, competing in 7 categories. Maybe some of their decisions will catch your curiosity, and I encourage you to give the project leaders a call, congratulate them, or find out more, or even ask some critical questions so that we can learn from each other and elevate this profession. The criteria by which we judge are based on the department's fundamental values, and you'll hear some extra emphasis in this presentation on efficiencies and performance-based practical design. Thanks to the judges who come from the bureaus, federal highways, consultants, and a rotation from the regions. A special thank you to first-time judges Dobra Payant and Chuck Caro. It's now my pleasure to introduce DTSD Administrator Rebecca Burkle.
As we get started, it's my honor and pleasure to welcome everyone and say congratulations. Any given year, the Design Awards provide a great opportunity to celebrate the value and impact of our work. Over this past year, it's been crucially important to keep good work moving forward. Transportation investments are vital to recovery and economic development. Quality designs play a critical role. Your skill, dedication, and hard work are making a difference. Please keep it up, and thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Let's get this show on the road. Our first category is Rural Design by WisDOT. 2 projects were nominated. Let's start our tour up in the rural north. We received 2 nominees on the WisDOT side. North Central Region submitted their project on US 51 southbound, just south of US 8. If you were up here last summer, you might have been one of the drivers who called to complain about the rough road, largely from an old gorilla mix giving up. Rob Stafford, Jesse Jefferson, Ted Smith and team developed different cross-sections for different lengths of the project to solve the specific problems and included a 200-foot test section for ongoing observation. There was also great cooperation with the contractor. Some of this looked more like construction award material, and indeed, it was this year's Asphalt Paving Award winner. This is a great example of how to promptly respond to a highly visible and critical roadway. Northwest Region sent in their US 12 project, which replaced culverts on 6 Mile Creek and 9 Mile Creek. This looks like a straightforward project until you factor in temporary bypasses for both water and vehicles, wetland protection, and more. The new culvert lengths were such that beam guards could be eliminated, but they went a step further with their practical design. The original scope called for a lengthened culvert near an intersection to accommodate a future turn lane. However, the projections simply didn't support it, so the culvert was not lengthened, but was designed hydraulically to not preclude this in the future, saving the project some $34,000 in culvert costs alone. Northwest Region, you are this year's winner. I'm pleased to present this year's award to Project Manager Dave Kep and Project Engineer Matt Payne.
Hey, thanks, Dan. To you and the rest of the committee, this project certainly was a challenge. Matt Payne, the designer who's here with us, deserves majority of the credit for all his civil 3D work on this. He was able to model the project in 3 dimensions to kind of avoid multiple constraints we had. So a big thank you to you, Matt. You certainly are the reason this design was a success. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Matt. And congratulations on being this year's Best Rural Design winner. Our next category is Rural Design by a consultant. North Central Region and Benish nominated their State Trunk 70 project in Forest County, a perpetuation project that resurfaced the roadway, updated guardrail, and replaced failing culverts. A key to success was the cooperation with other agencies, notably the project's only neighbor, the U.S. Forest Service, plus the DNR and Trout Unlimited. Together, they removed water impounded at the Alvin Creek crossing and improved the migration path. Thank you, Dan Irva, Amanda Zacharias, and your teams. Northeast Region's nomination is on State Trunk 76 in Winnebago County. MSA was the design consultant. Their project features a triple roundabout design on a high-speed minor arterial carrying some 10,000 vehicles per day. Their primary focus was horizontal geometry, and achieving sight distance while minimizing real estate impacts. It should be noted that the low and second bidders were 0.1% apart. Thank you, Bill Bertrand, Chase Keeler, and your teams. Northwest Region and MSA nominated their State Trunk 93 project in Trempealeau County. This project utilized a mix of traditional mill and overlay methods and cold-in-place recycling, which reuses 90 to 100% of the existing pavement. It's estimated that cold-in-place saves up to 50% in resurfacing costs, and studies at the UW-Madison show that on average, it saves 23% in both energy consumption and carbon dioxide emissions. The 93 project was also WisDOT's first pilot of the new mumble strips, which increased driver safety but reduced noise. Thanks Sean Spromberg from MSA, Kyle McLean from WisDOT, and your teams. Well, here's something we don't see often, a new road through a green field. Southeast Region nominated their Wisconn Valley Way project in Mount Pleasant. Steve Hoff from WisDOT, Prasad Narayan from Kapoor, and their teams brought this from a line on paper to 4 lanes open for business in 24 months. The flat setting yielded 3 stormwater ponds, and a new box culvert was packaged for early construction. The median also includes 9 bioretention cells. And that brings us to the Southwest Region's nomination, US 12 in Sauk County near Baraboo. This is a significant reconstruction of a 4-lane divided highway where a 40-mile-an-hour S-curve was to blame for crashes nearly twice the statewide average. This $8 million project was funded through the Highway Safety Improvement Program. It realigned those curves to 70 miles an hour and reduced 8 access points to 1. But it's not just the size that makes this stand out. 8 alternatives were considered, balancing cost, design speed, and impacts. In the end, the Bluffview neighborhood remained intact, and no cultural, historic, or archaeological resources were impacted. Finally, the project removed old concrete from the neighboring former Badger Army ammunition plant, now owned by the Ho-Chunk Nation, and used it in the fill. In fact, this is the first 4-lane divided highway in the United States. Congratulations, Southwest Region and Jewel, you are this year's winner. Ladies and gentlemen, here to accept the award is WisDOT Project Manager, Craig Fisher. Craig?
I am thankful for being able to contribute to this safety project that eliminates the sharp back-to-back horizontal curves and instead creates a safe and efficient highway. I would like to also thank Ian Winger and Jim Roy for their help and support. Thank you.
Thanks, Craig. And I'd also like to introduce the project manager from Jewel, Ellery Schaefer. Ellery.
Thanks, Dan. I'd like to thank our design team here at Jewel Associates Engineers that worked on the Highway 12 project. The safety improvements, which included realignments of Highway 12 and access control, including modernizing this section of Highway 12 to current design standards, allows for the safe, efficient movement of people, goods, and services throughout Southwest Wisconsin.
Our next category is structure design by WisDOT. First, our nominee from the Southeast Region is a set of pre-stressed girder bridges that carry I-94 over County Trunk KR. Being in the central Foxconn development zone, the design was done quickly, within a 3-week period. Even though the contractor chose a conventional method, they were designed to utilize partial depth, precast concrete deck panels, and accelerated bridge construction technology. Thanks Max Kulik and your team for designing this project. The North Central Region nominated their State Trunk 49 bridge in Iola. The project replaced an old stone arch nestled in town among historic properties and natural resources. The new slab span offers an efficient design for hydraulics and maintenance. The design team also put great care into keeping the community connected while the bridge was out, creating a local pedestrian detour using an existing Riverwalk trail, existing sidewalks, and city streets. Testament to the plan quality, the final cost and engineer's estimate were nearly identical. Thanks Wendy Arneson, Preston Bone, Emily Keene, Ryan Bars, and your teams for this fine project. And third, we have a nominee from Southwest Region, the State Trunk 22 Bridge. Well, B1172, you are this year's winner. This is one of the few locations where two-lane rural roads are connected with an interchange. And when the bridge was damaged by a logging truck, the Bureau of Structures team sprang to action. Survey was requested on September 17th, and the plan was PS&D'd on December 1st. But speed didn't mean cutting corners. In fact, they worked with programming to synchronize pavement work in the vicinity while also adjusting the profile. Notably, the potential for complexity in repair work is high compared to a new slab bridge, and the majority of the substructure here was salvaged. Accepting the award for the Bureau of Structures is Dominique Beckley, and for the Southwest region, Greg Payne.
Thanks, Dan, and thanks to the awards committee for this award. BOS was definitely excited to be a part of a successful project like this one. I wanted to give a special congratulations to those in BOS who were directly involved. Chris Dahl was the lead structures designer, Warner Risser was the plans drafter, and Laura Shadwell was the design supervisor for the project. And thank you to Greg for working with us on this project.
Thanks, Dominique. And yeah, I'd just like to echo that thanks to the Bureau of Structures, and I'd also like to thank my design team in the central unit. I think we had such great communication with the Bureau of Structures and delivered an awesome project in record time. Thanks, everyone.
Congratulations on being this year's Design Award winner. Our next category is structure design by a consultant. Southeast Region nominated their 13th Avenue Bridge in the Village of Summers. This bridge replaced the structurally deficient existing structure along with a unique stretch of the Pike River. The project provided significant cost savings by incorporating an existing sheet pile wall into the new bridge and wing design providing a larger hydraulic opening without realigning the river or the roadway. The design of the bridge itself is relatively straightforward, but making it fit so well with the setting showed real skill. Thanks Aaron Palmer and the team from Westbrook. The second nominee is the County Trunk PD interchange, where a signalized intersection was replaced with a single-point urban interchange. It's our Design Award winner this year. Congratulations to the Southwest Region, Strand, and AECom. But it wasn't just about being big. Let me show you a few highlights. In the planning phase, multiple alternatives were considered. MSE retaining walls at the abutments helped reduce the footprint, but were positioned to allow visibility. Even the placement of signals took special 3D modeling for visibility and structural support. Perhaps the most notable component was the geotechnical work, including HP piles set into 20-foot deep pre-bored holes encased in concrete, and a static load test. Ladies and gentlemen, here to accept the award for DOT is Scott Shaneman.
Hey, thanks. It's great to get this Verona Road Award. I really wanted to say thank you to our recent retirees, Mark and John Vesperman, who really carried this project on the DOT side, and of course the AECom and Strand who put everything together, and really the entire team who worked on the project. So thank you, everybody.
Pleased to present this certificate to Joe Bunker from Strand.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate the award. I'd like to second Scott's comments about Mark and John, and thank you, Scott, as well for your involvement, and thank you, Matt, and the collaboration that Strand had with AECom. Thought it was a great project overall. Thank you.
And Matt Kribner from AECom, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just want to say thanks to the Bureau of Structures and Bureau of Technical Services and their staff for the design guidance that they had on us to help us with this structure.
Our next category is urban design by WisDOT. The Southwest region improved safety and mobility on Main Street in Lake Mills with new concrete pavement, curb and gutter, and pedestrian and bicycle connectivity. 70-year-old city utilities were also replaced, including lead water mains. 2 intersections were enlarged for truck turning movements, but using performance-based practical design, 11 others were determined to be fine as is. The design team prepared for construction success with a full closure in stages and extensive public involvement, but pedestrian access to businesses was maintained throughout. Thanks Jeremy Hall and Jeremy White for sending in this nomination. Nice project. It got a lot of good feedback from the judges. The Southeast region nominated Lake Drive in the village of Whitefish Bay. This project improved 10 locations, including 3 curves with hazardous crash histories, and was well in tune with its context, giving non-motorized users a high priority. You'll now find new beam guard that shields a popular sidewalk and high-quality trees, also high-friction surface treatment, new RRFBs, bike lanes, and new median refuge islands, one including a Danish offset. Thanks to Christine Hanna, Martin Villaka, Shireen Anani, and your team for the impact you're making on Whitefish Bay. From up in Rothschild, we have the North Central Region's nomination on Business 51. It gets nearly 25,000 ADT, which included residents and local officials who were dissatisfied by the poor ride. Design began in August 2019 and was completed in just 8 months. In a way, this is a basic project, but it's a worthy award nominee because it quickly addressed the problem. The team's task was deciding what to do and what to save for a future program project based on the immediate needs and safety performance. Thanks Nicole Lisney, Dan Holloway, and Zach Gruling for the nomination. Our final nominee comes from the Northeast region, where the first diverging diamond was brought to life at the 10 and 441 interchange. Congratulations team, you are this year's winners. This was part of the larger 10-441 major project, replacing old pavement and increasing capacity all around. The DDI ranked high among design alternatives, compatible with existing piers and costing about $3 million less than a roundabout. There is plenty of non-motorized traffic in this urban area as well, and the overall design includes new sidewalk, while the new DDI includes a path down the middle. Not only that, but vital access was maintained through the work zone as well. I'm pleased to present this certificate to Project Supervisor Chad DeGray. Chad?
Thank you, Dan. Much appreciated. I want to thank you for this award. We're very excited to receive it. It was a very exciting project to work on, being the first DDI in the Northeast region. We've been receiving a lot of great feedback from the locals that they enjoy the interchange and that it operates very well. So I want to thank Garrett Vickman for his efforts on final design, Scott Ebel, the project manager, as well as the rest of our in-house design team for their support efforts. Also wanted to thank Tri-County Partners made up of AECOM, HNTB, and Kapoor for their preliminary design efforts, as well as HDR for their efforts on the peer review for the DDI. So thank you to everybody. It was a great effort and we appreciate the award. Thank you.
Thank you team and congratulations. The next category is Urban Design by Consultant. The North Central region nominated State Trunk 22, 3.5 miles of resurfacing through Shawano. Dan Irva was the PM for WisDOT and Stephanie Christensen the PM for EMCS. The project addressed aging pavement, a railroad crossing, and a creek crossing. The culvert was sized to avoid new guardrail. Even though the public requested a new roundabout, the project team studied the crash data and held to the scope, recognizing that a change may be warranted later. Curb ramps were brought to ADA standards and several missing links in the sidewalk network were made. I-39 makes another appearance at this year's awards for the Southwest region. This is part of a larger project that overhauls one of our most significant highways from 4 lanes to 8 and improves safety standards. Still, the design team looked critically and determined that a 65-mile-an-hour design speed was suitable rather than 70, saving about $1 million. Another detail that saved on material and cost was a trapezoidal shoulder, starting at 13 inches to match the driving lanes and tapering down toward the median. This was one of WisDOT's pilot projects for automated machine guidance paving. Thanks Brad Halvensleben at KL and Derek Potter at DOT. Ayers and the Northeast region nominated Waldo Boulevard in the city of Manitowoc, reconstructing a connection from I-43 to the shore of Lake Michigan. This had all the complexities of urban work: utilities, railroads, schools, structures, historic properties. 5 ICE reports were completed along the corridor and intersection improvements made, including 1 new roundabout and another not constructed at this time, mindful of the department's resource use too. Topo data was acquired with mobile LiDAR, a technology new at the time, reducing traffic control and personnel exposure surveying busy intersections. Congratulations to Troy Robillard from Ayers and Brian Hain from WisDOT on this fine project. The judges commend your work with an honorable mention. And finally, we have State Trunk 20, where it's also known as Main Street, in the village of Waterford. Let's hear it for R.A. Smith and the Southeast region, this year's winner. Partnerships were the name of the game as the design team engaged the village, business association, and numerous stakeholders to transform this central artery for generations to come. Designing in a setting like this is a balancing act of current and future needs. Here, projections estimate the need for 4 lanes in the design year, but not for a long time. So the cross-section you see is signed and striped for today's needs, but ready for the future condition if it becomes needed. I'll put a note in the awards file to check into this in 2038. In the meantime, bike facilities, parking, and a section of 2-way left turn lane are all in use today. Finally, in cooperation with the DNR, 2 existing box culverts were replaced with pipe culverts, saving about $250,000. And here to accept the award for R.A. Smith, John Elkin, and Caleb Mansky.
Thanks, Dan. It was an honor to have had the opportunity to work with the Department of Transportation on this unique project. It was also a pleasure collaborating with the Village of Waterford, who took an active role throughout the project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan, and the awards committee as well. From R.A. Smith, being from a small town myself, the project was very special to me in the sense that how it positively affected the entire community, not to mention the many first-name relationships we developed with the local folks over the course of the project. It was a great reminder, too, on how honorable and people serving our profession really is. And also special thanks to Janet Cannon, who got the project off the ground for the department, and the Waterford Village administrators, Rebecca Ewald, and then Zeke Jackson. Thanks again.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Caleb. And our WisDOT project manager, congratulations, Justin Sudam.
Thanks, Dan. I wanted to just say one highlight was involving complex issues and solutions for them by working with other team members in our internal DOT staff and working with R.A. Smith to coordinate the various design with standard updates and regulation changes, and involve various stakeholders like the villages of Waterford and Rochester, business community and schools and residents over the years to reach a design that met much of the interests of the diverse users in the roadway in these quaint and vibrant villages.
Congratulations, Southeast Region and R.A. Smith on this year's Design Award. Our final category is the local program, and the judges were pleased to see a great field here this year. Let's have a look. North Central Region nominated County Trunk U in Byron. County Trunk U serves as a primary route to ND Paper's mill. The design team replaced the pavement to handle heavy truck loadings. They improved the geometry of intersections to safely handle turning movements, replaced a major cross pipe, improved drainage, and improved pedestrian safety, all while making decisions that minimize the footprint, preserving a similar feel to the existing roadway and saving money. Dave Gale was the project manager from Omni. The Northwest Region's nomination is a portion of Park Avenue in Chippewa Falls. This reconstruction turned a rural section into an urban one, and the design team was able to narrow the total cross-section, which of course saves on cost and maintenance, and is expected to moderate speeds too. A shared use path completes the final gap in a 76-mile series of 3 state trails. Thank you to Bill McElroy and the City of Chippewa Falls for submitting this nomination. Your in-house design capitalized on your local knowledge, especially the expectations of your users and maintenance needs of the municipality. One of the things I love about the local program is the diversity of projects. Check out the Southwest Region's nomination, a new river walk at the Beloit Powerhouse. This decommissioned power plant is now the Beloit College Union, and a new walkway makes an important connection between that union and existing path networks. Its 48-inch railing is a balance between standards and historical impacts. It uses 21-inch concrete box beams supported on pile bent piers and sill abutments. Thanks Fred Gruber and Greg Jewell for your work on this project. Well, the judges debated the 5 nominees and finally concluded that this year we would give 2 awards in the category. The first goes to Northeast Region and Omni for their County Trunk CA project in Grand Chute and Greenville. The old 1960s era road was no longer a fit for the developed urban corridor here. It was not uncommon to see pedestrians carrying luggage along the shoulder. Now, you'll find a gateway from the Appleton International Airport to surrounding hotels, shopping, and communities, with intersection capacity and trails for multimodal transportation. A narrower median means more terrace for a better experience on that trail, and streetscaping to emphasize the gateway concept. Being close to the airport, they needed to limit ponds to limit the number of birds that might interact with aircraft. So, in addition to avoiding impacts to a navigable stream, the design also includes median biofilters to treat stormwater. I'm pleased to present this certificate to the Outagamie County Highway Commissioner, Dean Steingraber.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to just say a couple words here. This project is another example of why the Fox Cities is a great place to live and work. I would like to thank East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission and all the Fox Cities communities for seeing the tremendous opportunity with this project. I'd like to thank Wisconsin Department of Transportation, their leadership throughout the project. I'd also like to thank Omni Associates or Westwood Infrastructure for their innovative design. And finally, I'd like to thank the townships of Grand Chute and Greenville and Outagamie County staff for working together to develop something special for the citizens and the guests of the Fox Cities. Thank you.
Thanks, Dean. I'd like to present this certificate to the WisDOT project manager, Brian Edwards.
Thank you, Dan. This project, like many of the projects in the local program, is a great example of the partnerships and the collaboration that take place between the local public agencies, our consultant partners, and the Department of Transportation. So congratulations to Dean Steingraber and his staff at Outagamie County, and congratulations Mike Malcolm at Omni and his staff for a well-designed project.
Thanks, Brian. And I'd like to present this certificate to the Omni project manager, Mike Malcolm. Mike.
Thanks, Dan. I'd like to start out by thanking Outagamie County for providing me the opportunity to lead the design of this project. I'm proud to be a part of a project that was both able to address some serious intersection crash issues while creating a true multimodal urban gateway between the Appleton International Airport and the Fox Cities. Thank you.
The judges are also pleased to present an award for local program design to the Southeast region and Grafe for their West National Avenue project. They reconstructed a 100-year-old thoroughfare, finding alternatives that fit between the stoops and sidewalks of this busy urban corridor. They recognized bicycle crashes and included bike lanes and bike boxes in their design. They used LiDAR for survey and weaved in longitudinal slopes to manage drainage in a very flat corridor, while accommodating the existing door fronts. The team is proud of their work, an attractive, safe facility that will be a draw for businesses and a welcoming community. I'm pleased to present this certificate to project manager from Grafe, Steve Huberty. Steve.
Thank you, Dan, and thanks to the selection team for recognizing Grafe for this award. I'd also like to thank the entire design team and all the city staff for the collaborative effort that was performed to make this project a success. We're very proud of the fact that we are part of the team that is leading the revitalization of the National Avenue corridor. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And I'd also like to recognize the city engineer, Pete Daniels. Pete.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, and I want to add to Steve's thanks. I want to thank my own team in-house. We designed the sewer work and the underground utilities in-house. Heath Rosevich, Matt Seneker, Rob Hutters, Dan Schwartz on my team designed some sewers that dated back to 1906, which was really the year that our city was incorporated. So these were the first infrastructure that they put in the ground when they became a city. And I also want to thank Grafe as well. I mean, the goal was to transform National Avenue, which has been there for 173 years, from a thoroughfare to a destination for businesses and shops. So thank you to Grafe for helping us achieve our vision.
And congratulations to the team for winning this Local Program Design Award. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. 8 awards and 25 projects, each with their story to tell and their lessons to teach. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. If you loved it, you can watch again on WisDOT's YouTube channel. Thanks again to the judges and to everyone who took time to nominate their project. To step back, even for a moment, and reflect on the work we have accomplished. To take a minute and say thank you and good work to your partners around the state. To even engage in the difficult task of respectfully talking with people about topics on which you do not agree, with the goal of truly serving our diverse public. There are so many successes all around us, large and small. I encourage you to keep your eyes open and your head up. And until next time, happy spring and keep up the good work. Thank you.